Starting the stream! Happy August 16th, 2017, an adventurous stream where we play Kingdom of Loathing, a dirty joke and stickman best game. I'm your host and age best forgotten, known as Mcnally 86. I reused the joke from yesterday because I failed streaming yesterday. It was not good, and I'm sorry about that. I'm also a little bit worried about today because I left my door open and hearing some noises. I'm sure the cat's fine. I'm sure it's fine, and it's not going to interrupt the stream in any way. Right. Well, no interruptions today. No interruptions today. Okay. So, the last adventure we need to do to finish the High Lord quest is kick the tires and light the fires on the Twin Peak. Now, the Twin Peak has very special things you have to do to beat it. I'm trying to remember what I gotta do to beat it. Okay. I think we're good for now. Alright, so let's go to the Twin Peak. After a long and tiring climb up the snow-covered peak, you find yourself in a large, rustic-styled hotel. The path leading to it is thickly blanketed in snow, and apart from the occasional gust of wind, everything is eerily silent. You might assume they'd be closed for the off-season, but thankfully, there's a light in the red-curtained lobby window. You trudge up the path and push open the door, carefully closing it behind you to keep out the cold. The lobby is quite spacious and decorated in a native theme. Your eyes take in the large pictographic murals, the silently staring totem poles, and the typically eye-crossing hotel carpet as you approach the front desk. Nobody's there, so you tap the little silver bell. Ding ding! The sound is practically swallowed up by the vast empty space. You wait several minutes, rubbing the cold from your arms. Nobody comes. It's only as you expected, you reason. This is definitely off-season, so there won't be much staff. Perhaps it's just a lone caretaker. They might be off somewhere, though, so you set off to look for them. Down the hall from the lobby, you find a large door and an empty bathroom. Ballroom. Not an empty bathroom, an empty ballroom. There's a bar at the other end where the bartender in a red jacket and calmly polishing a glass, as bartenders do. Evening, Lloyd, you say as you take a seat. A little slow tonight, isn't it? You start to laugh, then stop uneasily. How did you know his name was Lloyd? Okay, so we're mixing Twin Peaks with The Shining. I see. Oh, sorry, that was a comment by me, not the script. They don't have that written there, that they're mixing Twin Peaks and The Shining, and probably some other horror elements are going to come up. Anyway, I'll start reading it. Yes, it is, Miss Mcnally. He puts down the glass and leans forward. Oh yeah, I got the gender reassignment. My character's a woman now. Oh. He leans forward. What'll it be? Well, I'm going to be needed in a room, but since I'm here, I could use a little something to warm me up. You reach for your wallet, but find it unexpectedly empty. Say, Lloyd, I seem to be temporarily light. How's my credit in this joint anyway? Your credit's always fine, Mcnally. Then something about his slight grin that is a little unnerving. Maybe it's his eyes, pale blue, with an almost glassy, filmy look to them. He stares at you, unblinking. You shake your head, trying to regain your composure. That's swell. I like you, Lloyd. I've always liked you. Best goddamn bartender from Timbuktu to Portland, Maine. Lloyd's slight grin doesn't change. Bourbon, ma'am? He asks. Let me start with a cup of coffee. There's a real chill in the air. How do you take it? Black as midnight on a moonless night. Now that's a Twin Peak line right there. Pretty black. He looks up from his glass and starts polishing it again. Regrettably, ma'am, I'm unable to provide it. You frown, puzzled. What's the problem, Lloyd? I'm not here, Mcnally 86. Huh? But I'm looking right at you. I don't suppose you're going to tell me you're at my house. You want me to call you? No, Miss Mcnally. I'm dead. Dead! You try to laugh, but all you can manage more than a weak chuckle. So, who killed you? You already know that, Miss McNally. You're the hotel's caretaker, after all. What? You search those ice blue eyes looking for a punchline. I'm no caretaker. I'm a special agent with the, You trail off confused. Suddenly, there's a loud knocking at the door, and you turn around, then look back at Lloyd. He's gone! What the heck? You look around, even standing to see if he's stuck behind the bar, but he's vanished into thin air. The knocking grows more insistent. It's more of a pounding now. All right, I'm coming. You cross to the door and pull it open. A very thin young woman with long brown hair and the world's most ear-piercing scream clocks you in the head with a baseball bat. Hey! All right. After what might be a moment or what might be an eternity, you slowly become aware of a bright light shining on your face. You hesitantly open your eyes, squint, and weakly hold up a hand to block the glare. A bald man in an impeccably clean chef's uniform stands above you, although it could just be from your perspective, i.e. lying on the floor. He appears to be impossibly tall. He looks down on you with faint sympathy in his eyes, but an otherwise unreadable expression. I'm going to tell you 3 things, he says in a slow, careful voice. If I tell 'em to you, then they come true. Then will you believe me? Where do you come from? You ask blearily. He shakes his head. The question is, where have you gone? Is there something bad here? Well, you know, Doc, when something happens, it can leave a trace of itself behind. Say, like if someone burns toast. A lot of things happened right here in this particular hotel over the years, and not all of them was good. What? He holds up a hand. Better listen than to talk. First thing I'll tell you, my dog's got no nose. Speaking of nose, welcome Gibbie. Dog no nose, you mumble. The second thing, the party is BYOJ. Party? The third thing is, only one who seeks will find. What do you mean? That's all I'm permitted to say. Give me your ring, and I'll return it to you when you find these things to be true. I wasn't going for Russian. I was going for the voice of the giant in Twin Peaks, because it's almost exactly like the giant in Twin Peaks. He bends down and slips your wedding ring from your left hand. He seems kindly, if troubled. Do you like ice cream, Doc? He asks. Yeah, I thought you did. Go get something cold on that skull of yours. You're gonna have a nasty lump. The image of the giant fades away into nothingness, the bright light fading away with him, leaving you in darkness. You stagger to your feet and fumble for a light switch. You find yourself in a hotel room, although you can't be exactly sure how you know it's yours. You leave and slowly make your way down the hall until you find the lobby. The exit to the front door, and pack a handful of snow against your head, wincing. What the hell is going on in this place? As you turn around to re-enter the hotel, a sudden gust of wind blows the snow all around you, turning everything white. You stumble forward, waving your hand in front of you, and encounter a rough, prickly wall of hedge. The wind dies down. You're in a narrow green corridor. A hedge maze? Oh, terrific. What kind of weird hotel has a hedge maze anyways? You start to shiver and realize you better find your way back to the hotel before you freeze to death. So, I should be able to solve the mystery of the hotel if I cheat and look up the answers, which I will do. But you don't have much of a hope on your first couple of playthroughs of solving the mystery of the hotel yourself, even if you know the answers are kind of hard to do. So if I spend 100 turns in the hotel, I'll get frustrated and just burn it down, and I'll solve the quest by lighting a signal fire. But I'm going to look up the answer to that in a second. But first, I get to see the collective ignorance of my fellow players. What have they written on the graffiti wall today? How me get no drunk? KFC and watermelon. Well, you're here because of me. Are you sure about that? Hey, Wyatt. No one likes you, Billy. I like trains, Kay. Alright, let's write my message. Bam. Oh, no, that's the wrong thing. Bang. Bang. Green. Verdana. Bang. Alright, so... cheating ahoy. Let's look this up. I know what I need to do. I need resistances, and I need speed, and I need a jar of oil. I already made the jar of oil from the oil in the oil place. But aside from that, I need to know what levels I need of what thing. So I'm gonna look that up. Okay, that's not what I wanted. Alright, so okay, so alright, so I need 4 stench resistance. I need 50% plus item drops. I need a jar of oil, and I need 40% combat initiative, but not all at once. So I'm going to do the jar of oil first, because I got that one. Alright, so let's go back to the Twin Peak and be stuck in the hedge maze. You're fighting some mid-smashed twins. In a clearing in the hedge maze, you see a giant muscle-bound man dancing with a midget who only comes up to his knees. Oh, thank goodness, you say. I'm so sick of twins. What are you talking about? The giant says in a heavy Australian accent. Oh, I went with Austrian. Oh, it is an Austrian accent. We are identical twins. The midget nods. Split luckende. Are you sure? Because you're huge and he's tiny. Oh, great, you say, as identical scowls club their faces, and the 2 tiny fists and 2 huge fists are clenched. Well, I'll punch them to death, and they're dead. I don't know how I feel about that, but I murdered the twins. And the Baron God was pleased. I'm fighting a creepy ginger twin. On the other side of the hedges in the hedge maze, you hear 2 identical sounding voices, having only one conversation. Great, more twins, you think to yourself, but when you get around a corner, there's only one person there. She's covered in freckles, but her ginger hair has been dyed a frizzy blonde. She's wearing an ill-fitting little girl's clothes, even though her body says she's at least in her 20s, and her face says she's either a lot older than that or has some serious mileage on her. Oh, look, Hallie, a new friend, she says, her eyes glassy. Then she steps to the right and answers herself in a British accent. Oh, Annie, I do hope they'll be our friend. This is a little weird for me, you respond. Another hater! Go get him, Hallie! She shouts and lunges at you. Okay, well, she's been murdered. With my cow-punching fists. Sindonace, Twin Peak. You find yourself in the basement of the Great Overlook Lodge, standing in front of the small model of the Great Overlook Lodge. A sudden flash of insight, and you reach into the basement of the model and see if you can give yourself a back rub. It doesn't work, but you do find a tiny little boiler. Acquired a miniature boiler. I've never gotten this item before, to my knowledge. This is a tiny little boiler. The idea that you use it to teach children how to be safe if they happen to find themselves in an unattending building that's like 200 years old. Seriously, who even has boilers anymore? I know schools that still have boilers. But they are old. Let's see if there's any information about said item. I'm guessing this is a rare adventure, or at least a semi-rare. So let's look this up. And yeah, it's a semi-rare adventure. It deals more than 20 to 40 damage if I use it against a group of monsters. So that's the benefit. So if I were to use it, I'd wind up the boiler, set it on the ground. It starts to make a hissing noise. After a few seconds, it pops, dealing 20 to 40 damage to your opponent. Huh, that was anticlimactic. But if I use it against like a horde of opponents, it explodes spectacularly. Okay, so that's what I need. So that's interesting. It's real interesting. That's a rare item that you don't know is useful unless you use it in a lot of different ways, which is really complicated. Anyway, you're fighting the Bumblemint twins. As you wander through the hedge maze, you hear two loud pops in rapid succession. You turn and see two young blonde women wearing identical green and white plaid dresses. They each pop their chewing gum and look at you coquettishly. "Come chew with us," they say in unison, chomping away. "Come chew with us forever and ever and ever." You get the jump on them. And they're dead. Dead by my hand. Hey! It's Frederick. I'm fighting an elephant meat car. Maybe. Topiary animal. This topiary animal was definitely made by someone with a limited topiary skill and experience. Remember, kids, make sure you're an arborist artist, is guild licensed and bonded. Otherwise, you could end up with something that looks like an elephant and a meat car had a one-night stand. Okay, well, I beat up the topiary monster, and Monstrous Manual tells me, when elephants get drunk, they say pink people. Okay, now I'm fighting big wheeling twins. When around a corner in the topiary maze, you see two huge fat children riding low-slung tricycles with oversized front wheels. They're both out of breath and shiny with sweat. "We're not fat, we're big-boned," they say in unison. "And yes, we're reading your mind. We're not sweaty, we have the glistening. And yes, we are about to run you over with the bikes. Thanks for thinking of it." And I'll punch him to death, and they didn't see that coming. Okay, so here we go. Lost in the Great Overlook Lodge. After what seems like hours, you manage to find your way out of that stupid hedge maze. Teeth chattering, you struggle against the weight of a snowdrift to force open a door at the side of the lodge. You finally make it back inside. It isn't quite what you'd call warm inside, but it's warmer. And at least the sort of chills this place gives you aren't the sort you have to worry about with your toes falling off. Now that your brain's defrosted enough to handle a coherent thought, you return to the question of what exactly is going on here. The barman said he'd been killed and that you'd known who killed him, but you don't remember any sort of thing. What's more is he seemed to know you, and for that matter, you knew him. But you could swear you've never been here before? Well, the agency sent you here to solve this mystery, so that's what you intend to do. You clap your hands and rub them together, partly from eagerness and partly to rub out the last remnant of chill at your fingers. Wait, what agency? So, I'll remind you guys that we haven't been sent here by an agency. KOL is weird, so we could have, but no, that's not what happened. And we weren't, we're not part of Twin Peaks or The Shining, but our character thinks they're part of both. So I can do any of these, but I can't do them successfully. But what I can do is follow the faint sound of music, because I have the right stuff. There's always music in the air. There's a faint whiff of music coming from somewhere, just on the edge of hearing. You start down the hall in the direction you think it might be coming from, and end up playing a lengthy game of hot and cold, walking first down one corridor, then up another. Gradually, the music becomes louder and more distinct. Smoky clarinet, double bass, wire brushes on the drums. You can hear it all clearly now. But wait, where's it actually coming from? You're standing at a dead end in the hallway, absent-mindedly snapping your fingers in time with the jazzy tune. The music is definitely at its loudest here, but there's no band in sight, no speakers in the ceiling. A vague, yet menacing government agency. However, there's a faint smell, as faint as the music was at first, a dark, bitter smell like scorched engine oil. Glancing around, You note the walls here are covered with framed photographs, mainly autographed celebrity headshots and tuxedo and evening gown group photos with various formal and holiday parties. The odd man out is a large oil painting hanging on the rear wall above a small end table with a silver tray on it. So I'm going to examine the painting. The painting, see, I used my oil. And the painting is very dark, but as you stare at it, you gradually begin to make out the details as your eyes adjust. It's a woodland scene featuring a forest clearing at night. 12 spindly, leafless sycamore saplings surrounded a small, white outlined pool of water. Or is it water? That smoky, oily smell is stronger. Something about that acrid, unpleasant smell seems familiar. You puzzle over it for a moment as you idly snap your fingers to the ever-present music. Boy, I wish I could remember the tune to the Red Room in Twin Peaks right now. I think this was a snapping. Anyway, not as good without the drum beats. Something about that okay. Of course, the oil peak. You pull out that jar of oil you collected and unscrew the lid. The smell is like a punch in the face. The same smell, like engine oil. You look at the painting again, then look at the table below it. A round silver tray rests atop it, and you're pretty sure what the ridiculous dream logic of this place intends for you to do. You carefully pour the oil into the tray, creating an unpleasant black mirror. Your reflection in it is dark, perhaps even sinister. But before you can consider it further, the image fades, replaced with a reflection of bright red curtains. You look up and find that the red curtains now cover the walls of the hallway. There's a part in them to your left, a smoky clarinet solo spilling out into the hall. You push through the curtains into what might be one of the hotel ballrooms. The floor is tiled and black and white zigzags, and scarlet drapes cover the walls. A number of people in black tuxedos and white evening gowns are mingling amongst white Greek statues and black leather armchairs. There's also, for some reason, a white horse standing motionless under a bright spotlight in the corner of the room. Well, let's mingle. You attempt to mingle, but the guests take no notice of you. The sole exceptions are the man in the tuxedo and the fat man in the bear costume. Wait. Who stop, whatever it is they're doing, to stare at you. If you've seen The Shining recently, they're giving each other a Hummer. Anyway, you quickly turn and head for the other door of the room and take a seat behind an attractive-looking young blonde in a black dress and a dwarf dressed all in red. They nod pleasantly, smiling at you. What's going on here, you ask? What's the celebration? How's my cousin? Replies the dwarf, nodding towards the girl. His voice is strange, oddly twisted somehow, though perfectly understandable. Doesn't she look like Laura Palmer? I don't know who that is, you say. At least you pause, then look at the girl. Are you Laura Palmer? I feel like I know her, but sometimes my arms bend back, she replies with a pained expression. She's filled with secrets, the dwarf adds and rolls his eyes. Yes, I can imagine. Okay, well, I was going to ask you about the bartender, but I think I'll save myself some sanity and just go. You stand and start looking for the part in the curtains as the dwarf begins an odd shuffle dance. At last you find an exit, and as you pass through the curtains, you aren't very surprised to find yourself back in the hedge maze. You are a bit surprised to find yourself holding something. It's a framed 8x10 black and white photograph, a group shot of the guests at a black tie party, all lined up in rows, waving and smiling at the camera. In front of the crowd, grinning widely, hand raised invitingly as though the host of the affair is you. The caption beneath reads, July 4th Ball, 1921. You throw the photograph away as hard as you can. Sometimes her arms bend backwards. Alright, how much stench resistance do I need? I need 4. Okay, so the next thing I need to do, I need 4 stench resistance. So let's check how much I have, and I got it. Alright, so I can easily do the next part. So let's head back to Twin Peak. I'm fighting Ungolith again, because they're trying to mess me up, because I'm a cow rustler. Alright, I'm fighting the Troll Twins. One of the enormous dead ends in the hedge maze, you encounter a set of squat, orange-skinned trolls with oversized eyes and enormous cheeks. Hey, do you have any ice cream? One of them asks and laughs hysterically. Joined by the disembodied laughter of the audience you can't see. What? How's that funny at all? You just mispronounced ice cream. Well, it's I say your cup of tea, the other twin says. We'll be 18 years old in just 14 years, 11 days, 3 hours, and 31 seconds. So, humble. Cut it out, you say, at which point they start to bite you in the kneecap. You get the jump on them. Well, I'm going to pistol whip these trolls. Smack your opponents with the butt of your 6-gun, dealing 34 damage to them. And I'm going to throw an abstraction at them. These opponents are more interested in tangible, real-world things like normal, non-abstract violence. Alright, well, I guess I'll punch them to death. And they're dead. Hooray! I actually don't know what they were referencing, but they're gone now. Okay, I kill many more sets of twins. And I'm back, lost in the Great Overlook Lodge. This time, I'm going to investigate room 237. Room 237 is notable for the fact that its key is sitting in the lock, perhaps carelessly forgotten by the housekeeping staff. Well, okay, that and the overpowering feeling of a lurking evil presence. But that key was the first thing you noticed. You unlock the door and step inside. The room seems normal, but at least within the standards set by 1970s orange and brown school of interior design. The bed is neatly made, and you spend a happy moment appreciating the fact that the agency didn't bother to outfit you with one of those ultraviolet gadgets that show you every stain that was ever perpetrated on a room. Ever. You turn to face the bathroom door. The bathroom, you think grimly, is always the worst. You open the door, and the presence of evil hits you like a slow-moving tidal wave. Fluorescent lights cast a flickering, sickening pallor over the avocado-green fixtures. There's no curtain obscuring the bathtub. You think you can see something lying in it. As you step towards the bathtub, the evil presence you've been feeling resolves into an all-too-physical odor. Rotten meat gardenias. The rotting fruit stench of an infected, pus-seeking wound. Oh, I know that smell well. You aren't surprised to find a dead body in a bathtub. You are surprised to find out she's quite lovely. Could have been the homecoming queen. She lies there motionless, naked, wrapped in plastic. The shower curtain, apparently. You push the plastic sheeting aside, and a cursory glance shows no obvious wounds. Not even decomposition. She could be mistaken for being asleep. Where is that smell coming from? You examine her face. There's something about her that you find strangely familiar. A stream of women's names floats across your mind. Theresa? Laura? Caroline? You can't remember who any of them are, but you're pretty sure none of them are her. Well, since my scent resistance is high, I can carefully inspect the body. You take a moment to still your nerves. You've inspected dead bodies before, and many in far worse condition than this. The dire odor is puzzling, but a bad smell can't hurt you. Haha, not in KOL. The body appears untouched. You can't immediately determine the cause of death. Blunt force trauma to the back of the head? Perhaps. But you don't wish to disturb the body into moving it into a position where you could verify that visually. And probing a gaping skull wound with your fingers would be contrary to protocol. And gross. One last thing to check. Carefully pull up her arm, pushing gently against the stiffness so as not to tear anything. Then take a pair of thin tweezers from your jacket pocket. Wishing you had Agent Stanley's magnifying glass with you. You'll lean in close to peer carefully at her left hand. You slide the tweezers underneath the left ring fingernail and pull out a tiny square of paper. Turning it over, you find that it bears a typewritten capital M. just as you expected. You carefully put the tiny scrap of paper into an evidence bag and stash it in your wallet, then turn out the lights and close the bathroom door behind you as you leave. You lock the door to room 237, take the key with you, and leave it on the check-in desk in the lobby on your way at the front door. You spend several minutes breathing deeply of the fresh, cold mountain air, clearing that smell out of your sinuses. Woo! That was a rough one. Worse than all those times those hippies asphyxiated with a sewage pipe ruptured and filled their sweat lodge with methane. You head back towards the hotel, but another freak gust of wind, and you find yourself in the hedge maze again. I also acquired my favorite gum, so I'm going to check out what that is. That gum you like. It's come back in style. Hey, you know that gum. It's the kind of thing you used to chew when you're a kid. Maybe it's going to come back in style. Alright, acquire effect, Sugar Rush. You're full of sugar. The net effect is the same as being full of piss and vinegar. 20 combat initiative, muscle 5 mox. Ooh, that's good. I needed combat initiative. How long do I have that for? Not long. Okay, I may have to chew more gum in a little bit. Alright, so I did that, and the next room requires 50% item drop rate. So I'm going to go through my equipment, and thanks to what I'm pretty sure Banana Phone showed me, I can sort by equipment that gives item drops. Alright, so I've got 10 right now because of the Mark V Steam Hat. I can get another 5% with the Tau capes. That's 15. BGE Critter, Cuddly Critter shirt. Let's do Ungrateful Undead because I can calculate that a little bit easier. It's 20. And I don't have to remember 22. Grateful Undead. Apparently I have more than one of those shirts. So I get 25. What? I don't have any item. No offhands. 25. 25. Alright. 35 of equip the monocle. Can I equip 2 monocles? 45. No, I can't. 45. And then Rabbit's Foot is 7. So that's 52. 52. But wait, if I go back to shirts, I could get an extra 2 by putting this one on. So I'd be at 54. Oh, that's high enough. Yeah, that's good. I should be fine at 54. Alright, let's go back to Twin Peak. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. An interest in making this episode not too long, I'm going to assemble a clover. And that will help me get through the maze a lot faster. And you'll see how in a second. Go back to Twin Peak. What kind of party is this? You find yourself in a hallway to the Great Overlook Lodge, wondering how you got in the hallway of the Great Overlook Lodge. Then you start wondering why there's a guy in a wolf suit standing in front of you, and why he's raising a martini glass and a toast to you while winking and licking his lips. Then you start to wonder how fast you can get the hell out of the creepy place. Your clover disappears with a puff of smoke. Your interest is piqued. 10 adventures. You are going to get to the bottom of this lodge business if it kills you. Your eyes are peeled, your reflexes are on edge, and your nose is a little cold and stuffy, to be honest. So this is a slight bonus to all of those things I needed. So stench resistance gives me the combat speed and gives me the item drops. So my combat speed should be up pretty high right now. It should be 30, I think. But that's not going to help if these Bubblemint twins don't let me through the lodge any faster than I need. Finding a bear pig topiary animal. Creepy ginger twin. I got some creepy ginger ale and a stolen necklace. This is the necklace that the creepy ginger twin forgot she was wearing at a photo shoot, and then neglected to return when she noticed the absolutely understandable error. The chain is a little tarnished and smells like crazy. Gives me spooky damage. Excellent. And I also accidentally pulled repeat off my action bar. Let's put it back up. Burp, 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 burp. Put it back up. Game is loading. Loading is taking some time. I'm fighting a spider duck topiary animal. This looks like the top half of a duck and the bottom half of a spider. Only the duck has mandibles and the spider legs are webbed in. I don't know, man. Find another creepy ginger twin. And I'm lost. And the Great Overlook Lodge again. But now I can search the pantry. Alright. Rows of fluorescent lights flicker as you enter the kitchen. Flip the switch, illuminating steel prep tables, sinks, ovens, racks, and pots and knives. All the accoutrements of a kitchen engineered to handle several hundred guests during the busy season. You meander over the pantry, unlock the latch, and pull open the heavy metal door. You aren't sure what you're looking for, but it stands to reason that if you don't know what it is, then you also don't know where you're likely to find it, so the hotel pantry is a good place to look as any. Stepping inside, you're greeted by row upon rows, shelves stacked with boxes and cans and jars of every imperishable food imaginable. If there is even a needle in this haystack to begin with, you've got quite the search ahead of you. Search the shelves. Your familiar gnaws distractedly at a carton of dog biscuits as you walk up and down the aisles, looking at the packages, pushing them aside to check behind them. Crouching to look underneath the shelves. Nothing. With a sigh, you start down the canned goods aisles. It doesn't look like you're going to find anything, but you've no leads anyways. So you might as well be thorough. Canned fruit, canned veg, canned fish, canned meat, creamed corn, creamed corn, creamed corn, creamed corn, creamed corn, creamed... There's a lot of creamed corn in here, actually. You pick up one of the cans to give it a closer look. The brand name is Garmonboisa, which you've never heard of before. Is that Italian or something? Italian for creamed corn, maybe. You grimace at the slightly faded photograph of yellow mush, and then, just as you notice the ingredients list begins with pain and suffering, you hear a loud clunk behind you. Was that the door? Then run back to the front of the room, reaching it just in time to hear a bolt and latch being slid into place and locked. There's no handle on this side. You futilely push on the cold metal slab, then start pounding it with your fists. Hey, wait a minute, what are you doing, you shout? Open the door! Let me out of here! Open the door! There's no response, although you think you can hear someone moving around outside. You lean against the door, your forehead resting against the cold metal, and try to calm down. Listen! Let me out of here and we'll forget the whole thing. It'll just be like nothing ever happened. No response. Furious, you start pounding on the door again and then slamming with your shoulder. It doesn't budge. After several hours of wearing yourself out, you have a frustrated, unsatisfying meal consisting of a bag of Oreos and an economy-sized jar of peanut butter and end up falling asleep on some large sacks of salt. Sometime later, you're woken up by the chattering of your teeth. You're lying on a snowdrift back in the hedge maze. You aren't sure if that's preferable to being locked in the pantry or not. Alright. So, the last thing I need to do is to get my speed up. Speed up. So I've got 10%. Does Coweruption give me any? Nope. Alright, let's chew back on that gum. It'd probably be on miscellaneous, right? Sort by name. I can't filter by things like equipment. Gum. Use chewing gum on a string. That's not what I wanted. Gummy turtle. Habanero flavored chili gum. Chili lime. No. Pickle flavored chewing gum. Tamarind. Ah! The gum that I like. Alright. What about tasty... tasty, fun, good rice candy. 20. Oh, it's just Sugar Rush again. Alright, so I've got Sugar Rush for 10 adventures, and so that puts me up to 30% speed. Let's see if some equipment can help get me all the way there. Sort by plus combat and initiative percentage. Alright. I have a third eye, apparently. Ooh, hey, trinocular vision. Now your depth perception is going to be terrific. Get out of town, two-eyed people. Make room for someone who really knows how far away something is and can also see into the ethereal and spiritual realms, I guess. That's really just a side effect. Combat initiative, all attributes, improved chance of finding lumps in sludge, doubles my damage against bad vibes. Alright, I got third eye. Excellent. Let's go back to... Oh, I'm a level 12 cowpuncher. I never looked. Did my cowboy hat get any higher than level 10? I forget what my cowboy hat was called already. Anniversary concrete fedora. Why are you in my inventory and not in my display case? 11-gallon hat. Yep, just as I thought. That hat won't get any better. Alright, back to... Wait! I can make things even faster if I just use Rusty. No? No Rusty? Rusty hedge trimmers. Here we go. Why would topiary animal, this drops from the topiary animals, by the way, have its own hedge trimmers? Did they sculpt each other, or maybe themselves? That's too weird to comprehend. No, they're probably just trying to keep them away from the gardener. Alright, I'll use the rusty hedge trimmers. You force open the hedge trimmers against the layers of rust and frost and hack your way through the wall in the hedge maze. It's a damn shame to ruin the greenery this way, not to mention the shame you feel at subverting a good old puzzle, but needs must when the devil drives. Teeth chattering, you struggle against the weight of a snowdrift to force open a side door of the lodge, and finally make it back inside. It isn't quite what you'd call warm inside, but it's warmer, and at least the sort of chills this place gives you aren't the sort where you have to worry about your toes falling off. Time to get this investigation back on its metaphorical tracks. The sooner you get this case solved, the sooner you can get back to headquarters and civilization. Search the pantry! Check it out. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. I'm back to searching the pantry. What? Did that not work last time? Did I not have enough item drop? Well, let's go overboard on the item drop this time. All right, so let's go back to the Steam hat, and let's get on the item drop. So item drops. All right, we can equip the nickel gamma of frugality. Yeah, that's about the best I can add. Well, let's try again. Twin Peak. Let's run away. That's not what I meant. Where is... We'll just cheat again with the rusty hedge trimmers. Come on. Where are the rusty hedge trimmers? Come on. There we go. Search the pantry. Search the shelves. Oh, here we go. New thing. Walking up and down the aisles. You check behind. Looking at the packages, pushing them aside, and check behind them. Crouching and look underneath the shelves, you don't find anything of interest. Unless you're interested in hot or cold cereals, post toasties, corn flakes, sugar puffs, Rice Krispies, oatmeal, wheatna, cream of wheat, a dozen jugs of black molasses, 60 bottles of dried milk, 30 12-pound bags of sugar, dried peaches, dried apricots, dried raisins, and dried prunes. Well, they say you gotta keep regular if you want to be happy. Then, pushing aside a can of cream corn, you find a small black rectangle. It's a microcassette tape. The same kind you use to record your diary or to send messages to your secretary back at an agency. It's labeled with today's date. You pull the recorder out of your jacket pocket, insert the tape, and push play. Your stomach turns to ice when you recognize the voice coming out of the tinny speakers to be your own. Diane, it's 7:20 a.m. All work and no play makes Mcnally 86 a dull girl. All work and no play makes Mcnally 86 a dull girl. All work and no play makes Mcnally 86 a dull girl. All work and no play makes Mcnally 86 a dull girl. All work and no play makes Mcnally 86 a dull girl. What the heck? You hold down the fast forward button for a moment. Oh, working on you fast forward again. Just keeps going for the length of a 90-minute tape. You stumble out of the pantry, unable to process what you heard. Make your way down to the red curtain corridor in the lobby in a daze. You exit the hotel through the front doors and rub some snow on your face in an attempt to wake yourself up. What's going on in this place? What's happening to you? When you open your eyes again, you're back in the hedge maze. This doesn't seem particularly like an improvement. Alright, so if I change my equipment to the third eye, I have to sort back for with combat speed. Do I still have Sugar Rush? I do, and my interest is still peaked. Third eye, and make sure, do I have any miscellaneous items? I can equip the Boner Dragon necklace, and there we go. Alright, and in the interest of cheating, let's pull out those rusty hedge trimmers again. Alright. Time to get this investigation back on metaphorical tracks. Wait, who's that? A short distance down the hallway, a figure steps out from around the corner. The bartender? No, it's a woman. And she's wearing a red jacket. She's dressed in a black suit, just like your own. She turns to face you. It's like looking in a mirror. She stares at you for a moment, and a cold shiver runs down your spine. Then she turns around and walks back around the corner. See, if I just told you guys you need to be fast enough to catch yourself, you wouldn't have believed me. But now I gotta be fast enough to catch myself. So pursue your double. You quickly walk down the hall and turn the corner to see the doppelganger striding briskly away. You pick up the pace to catch up with her, but it's evident she's no intention of being caught. Soon the two of you are running full tilt down the lodge's corridors, spraying around the corridors, clattering staccato footsteps echoing on the black and white zigzag tile. You race around one corner and then another. You double ducks through a gap in some red curtains, and you follow her through. Across an empty room, through another curtain, down another corridor. You're gaining on her, slowly but surely. Eyes narrow, teeth gritted. You're determined to put a stop to this once and for all. You found the clues. You've seen enough. You know who the killer is. This ends now. You launch yourself at your twin, grabbing her around the waist and bringing her down in a diving tackle. All the lights in the hotel strobe wildly, then cut to black. And then, when the lights come back on, you're standing in the boiler room in the basement of the Great Overlook Lodge. Beside the red glow of the furnace, the only illumination is a bright white spotlight which shines on three figures, the barman and the midget, standing next to each other in their identical red jacket, and the giant, who, it turns out, is tall but not unusually so. It must have been the awkward visual perspective after all. So, he says, you finally figured out who the killer was. It was always you. Nope, you interrupt, hand raised. Not falling for that one. I'm not the hotel caretaker. I'm not the special agent who's it's either. It's me, Mcnally. I'm not having any of this. I don't care if your hotel is inherently evil, or if it's full of ghosts, or if it was built on an Indian burial mound, or if it's inhabited by some kind of weird personified spirit of the evil that men do. You aren't going to trick me into being any part of this any longer. The giant smiles, nods, and hands you a gold wedding ring. So, what will you do now? Well, you say, the second thing I'm gonna do home is get drunk. The first thing I'm gonna do is burn this effing hotel to the ground. You pick up a gas can from the corner and throw it into the furnace, which promptly explodes. You wake up at your campsite feeling pretty satisfied with yourself. Acquire gold wedding ring. The inside of this plain gold band reads Shelby, but you can't recall marrying anyone with that name. The only Shelley that you know is an 18-year-old waitress at a diner in a town you've never been to. Gives me adventures per day when equipped, 75% chance of preventing negative status effects. And it sells for a crap ton of meat. Oh my goodness. That sells for a lot of meat. Oh my goodness. How much meat does that sell for? Ooh, 11,000. I am selling that right now. Okay, that was a lot of meat. Yep. You sell your gold wedding ring to a halfling knob polisher. Yeah. Alright, so now Twin Peaks on fire. Let's turn in this quest. Ah, sweet. Oh, wait, no, he was a stoner. Ah, sweet, dude. Totally lit all that signal fires. You happen to collect any rent from my tenants while you're out there, did ya? Nah, no worries, man. It's enough you lit the fire so I can get my pizza. I was getting, like, desperate, you know. I already ate all my Cheetos and it was like 5 bowls of cereals in. Hey, you got it back. I mean, like most people do. Thanks for helping me out. You can have this. I'm usually too busy staring at my hands and stuff to put on my back anyway. You know who else likes pizza? Is the Baron and Rafflemlaw. Rolf LMFO. ROFLMAO. Rufflemau? Rufflemau. Okay, that's the name. I forgot the name. It was an old name. Rafflemau. Used to be a nice place, but it got overrun. But harshest group of buzzkills I've ever seen, man. They've got like a whole different alphabet, you know. Anyway, help him out. I'm sure he'll reward you. Got a misty cloak. This is a cloak made out of some Highland Lord's Highland mist. It's light but strong, just like you like your women. Alright, well, that is an accurate depiction of how I like my women, and time to end this episode. I solved the mystery of the peak. And next time, we'll probably clean up some garbage. Hooray! See you tomorrow.